And welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Allison Maloni alongside CW Shannon. Did you know that 1 out of every 10 people in the world live without clean water? Well, our next guest is hoping to fix that problem.
Joining us now, the founder and CEO of OriginClear, Riggs Eckelberry. Welcome to Wake Up America Weekend.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, Riggs, you recently wrote a fascinating op-ed for Newsweek saying a water shortage is coming and we aren't prepared. What's your plan to rectify that?
Well, it's very simple. There's an infrastructure bill. Unfortunately, it really only gets us 1 year of backlog caught up in our terrible infrastructure problem in water. And of course, we know that groundwater is being drawn down in fact, the most in California, which has the most drought. So all kinds of problems. And the federal government has been reducing its annual contribution to city systems all this time. So what's the solution? Well, we've found a solution, which is to bring America's investors in to invest in water systems just like oil wells. And this is proving to be extremely popular, and it's bringing a whole army of investors, frankly, because water rates inflate 3 times the rate of inflation. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Riggs, you bring up some really important points about how clean water really should be something that we can all agree on. Just tell us some of those statistics so our audience can understand why this water crisis is occurring and why we need to act now.
Well, do you know that in the world, 80% of all dirty water isn't cleaned at all? It's thrown into our lakes, rivers, and oceans. And this is a scandal. So we have this disposable society where we just use the water and throw it out. Israel recycles almost 90% of its water. America, 1%. That's ridiculous. We should be able to do that. But we can't do that with the antiquated central utility systems. We've got to do it where people are making it dirty, where it's being polluted, obviously. That's where it can be recycled. And so we are finding a huge mega trend towards breweries and housing developments and car dealerships doing their own water treatment, and we're here to help them make it happen.
Riggs, you mentioned that you have investors who are interested, and a lot of people are taking on board with this. What is next? How do you actually get this going and get clean water to everybody who needs it?
Well, let's look back in 1981 where Apache Corporation created the first oil well master limited partnership. And it blossomed. Today it's huge. And it doesn't compete with Exxon and Mobil. It complements it. So we have a complementary idea of doing the very same thing for water that was done with oil. And potentially it is a multi-billion-dollar activity, because everybody wants to invest in water. They just don't have a way. They can only, buy bonds or buy big company stocks. This is a way to directly invest in water equipment. And we're so excited that, America's investors who are looking for something stable and inflation friendly have a way to do this.
I know you put on recently a presentation just this past week where you suggested that water is the new gold, water as an oil well, and several other strategies. Really, what's the end game here?
Well, look, the end game is we got to do everything, right? There's all the weapons come to bear. We've got to clean the dirty water. We've got to recycle. Desalination is a weapon. It's all the above. And we need to stop the groundwater depletion. Do you realize that the Ogallala Aquifer, which is the Midwest, it's 30% of all water for produce in America, is now down in some places 150 feet down, and it's going to completely deplete. This is very irresponsible. So good policies for groundwater management, all these things are essential, but we need to bring help from all corners, and we can't rely on the federal government anymore.
Yeah, Riggs, it is safe to assume that you have been probably met with some skepticism if that's the case. How do you deal with that? What have people been saying?
Actually, it's a lot of pent-up demand for what do I do? How can I get in emails constantly in my inbox? How can I help? What can I do? I know there's a problem, Flint, Michigan, all these places. There's a lot of canaries in the coal mine, and people know that their local water is not great. It's not going to kill you today, but it's got toxins in it, and they keep asking, how can I help? And we think the best way to do it is really go into a decentralized mode and not just wait for the federal government to help us out, because it's just not happening.
Yeah, being proactive. I love it. Thank you so much, Riggs Eckelberry. We appreciate it. Keep us posted on what you're doing.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Of course.